I don't know where to go from here. Alice, can you help me?
So I can see you.
On which page?
Let's see. I see you on the 5 elements page. Because you're sharing your whole screen, so we see your whole screen.
All right. So if I just do this, can you just see me on Facebook right now?
There's a little bit of a lag, so give me a second. Yep, I see just you.
Okay, on my 5 elements group. So hey everyone, we're just doing a little test run here. We had a little bit of an issue yesterday technologically, and we're trying to get these little wrinkles out, and we are going to be going live in about 8 minutes with our Facebook. So I think we're just going to stay on here and we can chit chat a little bit as we're waiting for people to come on. And really what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be doing a recap, but I won't start the recap for another 8 minutes. But anyway, I just want to maybe just fill you in on some of the experiences that we have been doing over the last couple of, I would say since mid-June or even actually early June. Well, truthfully, when we're starting our annual event, which is going to be in January, what we always do is we kind of do a debrief after, and then, you know, obviously we're still working within the current year, but we as 5 elements group consultancy, what we need to do is we always need to be looking forward so that we can anticipate your questions about, you know, you even wanting to know what's going to be happening in the future for you. So anyway, so that's what we have been doing actually for several months, but really concerted efforts started in June for sure. So Alice, I'm just checking with you also, how is the sound? Is everything clear for everyone, or I've got
okay, give me a second because I have to mute a couple of things.
Okay. So I'm going to just keep going on. So yesterday, what we had was day 1 of the 5-day challenge, but we got booted out at 9 minutes. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do a brief recap of what you were supposed to get yesterday, because I don't want you to miss a thing. So while you're waiting for us to go live, what I would love for you to do, if you are already logged in, is tell us where you're logging in from, because I have gotten emails from all around the world today about the excitement of the book and excitement about the annual event. So I would love to hear where you're from. I'm going to let Alice, you know, work with the feed, because truthfully, I am not real good at that. So she'll be able to like give us any comments along the way. So what we'll do is we'll certainly, you know, answer any questions if they happen to come in, and we'll answer them as they go along. But I'm going to try to get through the astrology piece first, and then we'll go into the feng shui piece. So it's a 5-day challenge, and so we're going to talk about person, space, time, and universe. And the number one thing that you absolutely would do a good benefit for yourself is to grab your astrology chart if you haven't done so already. So you just need to go to freebusinessastrology.com. Alice will put that in the comments as well as we are going along. But the astrology chart really is that first piece that you're going to want to know, because everything that I do and everything in classical feng shui is going to be time-based, and it is also going to be personalized. So we really want you to get the most benefit out of this because of the craziness of last year, which was, you know, just a few days ago. But it's not going to be like we're going to flip a switch and everything's just going to go away. We still have to kind of roll up our sleeves and get some things done as well. So getting your astrology chart would be a really smart first step in this whole process if you're new to metaphysics, Chinese metaphysics, and especially new to me. And so that's again freebusinessastrology.com. That's going to be your number one step to really get mostly engaged with what we're going to be talking about today. And it doesn't matter if I'm going to be talking about Feng Shui or the timing piece, which is with the time blazer, or universal gateway, which is again, it's accessing your universal intelligence. All of that is based on your birth chart. So we do not keep that information. You just put in the chart, the information in the chart. And then what you need to do is you need to screen capture it or save it in your photos, because you're going to be referring to this forever. So that's what we really want you to do, is to make sure you get that that chart. So like I said, we're just waiting. Since we're online now, we're just going to go ahead and stay online just for these few minutes, just because I think there's a lot of people that are online right now, and so we don't want to lose this connection that we have right now.
And just chiming in, it looks like the broadcast is not being interrupted like yesterday. Yeah, and your sound is fine.
Okay, good. Well, that's a first good step. That's the first good step. So, so we're really just kind of waiting for people to come on. Has anyone showed up yet, or are we a little bit early?
We're just a little bit early. There's a couple people on, but no one has typed in the comments.
Okay, so just type into the comments, if you could, where you're tuning in from, and tell me if you came yesterday, because the people, if you did come yesterday, you get a little bit of a Benny from me for coming for all 5 days. So you will get a little bit extra bonus by attending all 5 days, but you didn't even get to hear that yesterday. So unfortunately, you know, we were only on for about 9 minutes yesterday, so before we got booted off. So I'm glad we have a much better, and I'll tell you why I'm in this setup when we talk about the Feng Shui piece, but I'm going to go into the astrology piece first, and then we'll get started. So let me just get my presentation ready here. So we will be ready to rock and roll in just a few moments. Feels like the countdown to New Year's, doesn't it? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and we're going to get started right on the dot here. Okay, everyone, we're just about ready for the countdown here. So what I would like to say is welcome up. We're right here at 4 o'clock. So hello, everyone. Welcome to day 2 of our 5-day challenge from the book launch Success Secrets for 2021 Metal Ops. And that's the main focus of what we're going to be talking about today. And for those of you just tuning in, thank you for joining us today. We really appreciate it. And we give especially great gratitude for those who tried to be with us yesterday, but we got booted off at about 9 minutes. So I was just talking away for about an hour before we even realized that that the replay part of it and all of it was just cut off at 9 minutes. So I'm going to do a very quick recap of what we talked about yesterday. And then we're going to go into our Feng Shui part of what we were going to be doing today in any case. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Kathleen Zemansky. I'm a business feng shui master, business astrologer, and the creator of the Time Blazer business management system. And so what I really actually do for my clients is person, space, time, and universe. And so what that means is business astrology, business feng shui, favorable timing with the Time Blazer, and universal gateway. You might be familiar with the term Shimin Dunja, and we are all about having you get this information in standard business English so you don't have to learn another language. And if English is your first language, by the way. But anyway, it really is an accessible way to understand these pretty complex concepts, and I'm really making them very accessible to you. The reason why I wrote this book, which I talked about a little bit yesterday, was we really had a crazy tumultuous year last year, and we're not gonna just like magically everything's gonna go away. We're gonna be kind of in this vibration at least through 2021 and even into 2022. Now, I'm not talking just about health concerns. I'm also talking about politics, and we've got a lot of things that are happening as far as political unrest and social unrest. And so all of these things are starting to come to a surface, and rightly so, that things need to change, right? But change is never easy, especially when it's happening to us. I can tell you that for certain, and I'm of a certain age. So I've gone through a lot of ups and downs in my life. And one of the things I want to start out by telling you is hopefully you have taken some reflective time, which we're going to do actually on day 4, is take some reflective time of what you actually learned, if you will. What message, what ways of being are you going to change, pivot, modify so that you become a better person? So that's what I believe downs are about. The downs shifts are getting your energy and revving it back up so that you can be better at anything that you choose to do, because you're the ones that are going to set your own goals. You're the ones that have your commitments, and being committed to this is really your choice. So nobody's telling you to do anything. So what I'm helping you do is, by having this information, it's going to guide you on what would be better choices and which ones you should steer away from. So that's really the crux of why I wrote the book. And that's really why I've been doing my annual event. Honestly, I've been all the way around the zodiac, and we're doing another turnaround at this point. So we've been doing this for quite some time. I've been a consultant myself for 20 plus years. And so I really know that from my own personal experience, because I wasn't always a feng shui master, you guys. I came to feng shui truthfully in a time that was a bit tumultuous in my personal life. And because of that, I saw immediately these shifts, and it was like, oh my gosh, this is how I know once I get through my own stuff, I'm going to be able to help other people. So hopefully I am there to be of service to you, and that you'll get an enormous amount of value out of not only today, but everything that I do here at Five Elements Group. So let's see. All right. So wanted to let you know about a couple of bonuses for those of you who have bought the book. And you still have an opportunity to obviously pre-order the book. The Kindle version of the book is actually being loaded tomorrow on January the 4th. But what you're going to get when you buy the book, you'll be eligible to come to the private webinar that I'm going to do, and we're going to be really talking a little bit more deeply about how to make the best use of the book and things that you would like to do. And we're going to give you an opportunity to send in questions and things like that so that they can be answered. Number 2, you will get access to 30 days. All of you can have that actually for the Time Blazer, and no credit card is required. But I really want you to try out this technology. This software is something that is a game changer. When you start triggering energy and doing the things that you want to do at the right time, and you take the actions at the right time, that's where you're going to start seeing some dramatic positive shift. But you have to, kind of understand that system a little bit as well. We are also, because our ticket sales uh, are higher than if you would go into to purchase a ticket right now, you're going to have to pay a higher price. So you've got a coupon code to get the ticket at $60. And then there is a universal gateway meditation. And this meditation is going to help you overall to help define what you want to be doing in 2021, but it's a great meditation to listen to over and again. And then there's also a 10-minute, it's maybe a little bit more actually, a little video about Feng Shui that is outside of what would be in the book. So as far as I know, Alice is going to be sending all of that out. My team is going to be sending that out tomorrow, but you should be getting it between tomorrow and, let's say, like Thursday, because we've got a lot of orders to be filling. So again, we are going to recap first day one. So let's just jump right into it. All right. The first thing that we would like for you to do is download your astrology chart. So go to freebusinessastrology.com, because that is going to be your blueprint for life. It's going to be your guidebook, your GPS, whatever you want to call it. But this is a tool that can help you understand who you are, what your hidden talents are, what challenges that you're going to have in life, and how you can avoid some of the pitfalls that may come your way. When you know that they're coming, you can prepare yourself, right? That's why we wear safety belts. That's why we wear masks, for prevention of further injury to our body, right? So what we want to do is have you be in that same place of power so that you can get things done that you want to get done. Everything I do is actually based on the 5 elements. So this is the 5 element chart. And literally, I could do a full day just talking about all the aspects of the 5 elements. The 5 elements defines everything in the universe to me. It's going to define your chart, your floor plan for the Feng Shui, your timing with the time blazer, and universal gateway. So these elements really do have a very strong purpose. In 2021, all of these elements are depicted, and what we want to try to understand about the 5 elements is which ones are going to be stronger and which ones are weaker, and how does that relate to our chart. So briefly, the 5 elements are fire. That's about your passions. That is about your visibility. It definitely is about your charisma and how you attract different things in your life. Then it produces earth, so that, when the fire goes out, it turns to ash, turns to earth. Now that takes literally centuries for that to happen. I mean, this has been going on since the beginning of time. But the earth element is about your support system. It is about your stability. It's about self-care. It is about, really just having that deep wisdom that is encapsulated into our earth. The earth gives its way to metal, and metal is about justice. It's about your systems. It is about speaking your truth. And so it is probably the hardest element of it all, but we need these elements. We need all 5 of them to have balance. Don't worry if you don't have all 5 elements in your chart, but these are just kind of general attributes of each of these elements. Then the metal gives itself to water, and water is about being very fluid. It's about really your communication as well, and sort of that deep wisdom. So, going deep into a topic, into research and things like that. Then water makes things grow. And so then we have wood. Wood is definitely about your connections. It is about your creativity. So if you're a writer or an artist, the wood element is very, very good for you. And it is also very connecting, right? So when you think about a vine that is just, crawling up the side of a house or another tree, you can see how it spread. Like from one day to the next, you can't even see how much it's grown. The same goes for a tree. You don't actually see all of the root system that goes beneath the earth. So this is something that you definitely want, is that creativity piece that keeps growing, and then it gives itself to fire, fuels the fire. So it keeps going in this nice circle. Then it also has a weakening cycle and also a controlling cycle. That's not the purpose of today's presentation, but we'll do a video on this because I think it is important for you to know. All right. So the reason I talked about the 5 elements, so gave you a chance to go grab your chart. And so again, freebusinessastrology.com. I'm sure Alice has put that in the chat for you if you're just tuning in right now. But what we're going to, this chart has a lot of information in it. And we're going to be talking about this entire chart over the course of the year. But for right now, we're going to talk about the natal chart, your year, month, and day and hour of birth. Now, for those of you who don't know your hour of birth, please don't worry, because at least you'll know these 3 pillars. Each one of these with an element and an animal is a pillar. And there's always a pure element on top, and then there's a mix of some sort of elements on the bottom within these what we call branches of the animals. So but if you do have your hour of birth, you will have a more clear picture of what's going on in your life. Your natal chart never changes. I've had people ask me in the past, I don't really like my chart, can I change it? No, you can't change your chart, but you can change the way that you behave, act, interact with life's circumstances and other people. So learning how to bring out the best will be glorious. Bringing out the worst, you probably won't have many friends, and life is going to be harder. So everybody really does have potential to bring out the best in their chart. You just need to discover what those hidden gems are. And that's what I'm here to help you to do. And again, we are looking at your chart from an annual perspective. We're not looking at a long-term diagnosis when you're reading my annual book. This is only for 1 year, and this year goes by very, very quickly. With that said, a year could change your life. When you think back of all of the major decisions in your life and where you were at a crossroads where you could have taken this path or this path, and whatever path you chose, and then another life decision came and it took you on another crossroad, you can actually pinpoint back to how your life is playing out by the choices you made. And sometimes you say, well, this really wasn't my fault. And, I'll give it to you up until about age 18, when you're under the umbrella of your parents' household. But after you've turned 18, you can start making decisions on your own. So this is where I really want you to start taking ownership. Let's just let go of what happened in the past. You may need to do some personal work on that's totally fine. But what I want you to understand is, let's shift that story, okay? Let's try to see if we can make the very best out of what is presented to us this year, whether it is a positive or a negative. And remember, the negatives do have really wonderful opportunities that lie under all of the minutia of what you may be going through. Believe me, I've been there. And let me even be vulnerable with you right now. Yesterday, I was pretty darn downtrodden that we spent so much time getting this book together, and I could have just gone, you know what, forget it. I'm not doing this. I'm just not doing this. Well, that's not the way I am, first and foremost. So, I had my moment, and then I had to do some deep soul searching of, why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I believe so much in what is happening. I had no control over what was happening on the platform that I was broadcasting from. So you know what? you pivot and you do something different. When you start having an attitude like that, you're going to win. If you just give up because you had a little roadblock in the way, and believe me, in the scope of things, that was a little roadblock, right? It wasn't pleasant, but it was a blip, right? Let's move forward, right? Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what these pillars actually mean. So the year of birth is about, actually, I'll stay here for a second. I was going to just take me off of the slides for a second, but the year of birth is about your networks and your market expansion. So what I want you to think about when I'm talking about all of the things that I do, I really focus on business more than personal. Although I've always said, if we are going to be doing work of any type, we're doing it why? To have a better lifestyle. So your personal does actually dovetail into all of that we're talking about as well. But my focus is starting with your business, but you can go at it from any angle you want. So your year of birth is about your social circles. It is about your friends who can help you get to where you want to go. Then the next piece is your networking and your networking efforts and your market expansion. What I mean by that is, what is the best platform for you to be really getting yourself seen in the world? Is it social media? Is it speaking on stages, virtually, of course, at this moment? But those things are going to shift, right? I really think by fall of 2021, and even sooner, we're going to be seeing people getting back into larger groups. But for right now, I would safely say the first quarter, second quarter, easily, we're going to be in these screens as our offices. So just think about how you can reach your market best for you. Okay, now going on to, and let me talk about also some personal things. This is about your ancestors as well. So I'm going to talk about how this is going to be affecting you as well. So your ancestors gave you a certain possibility because they were born, your parents were born, and now you were born. So once that year of birth hits, now it is your responsibility to take on the lead. And then if you want to pass it on, i.e. children, i.e. your business to someone else, this is where the chart begins, right? So we start with the year and we go all the way to the hour. All right, so this is about your grandparents and before. Your month of birth is about your career, what you're best suited at, your character, and it is also about your parents, and it is also about your health. So I have a lot of people that do come to me, and disclaimer here, I'm not a health care provider, nor am I a financial advisor. I read the elements. So it is information for you to take and then put it into a plan of action. And that's worth noting as well. A plan of action is really what I want all of you to encourage you to do. So it's not that I'm going to give you this information and, I have this great animal in my chart this year, or I have this bad animal in my chart this year, so I don't really need to do anything because I got these animals and it'll come. Well, that's really the wrong way of looking at it. This is giving you information so you can take action. So that's what I want you to put your mindset on for that. Okay. All right. And so it is looking at your health. We can look at other pillars but this is kind of your long-term. We're looking at your natal chart right now, right? Okay, your day of birth is about you. I think this is a very important pillar because it is about your personal growth. If you don't have a personal growth strategy throughout your life, and it doesn't like, I took one class when I was in my 20s, or I took a class when I was in my 40s or whatever, and I'm done. You're never done. You're never done with personal growth. It's like an onion peel, right? So that just keeps peeling off another layer for you to be a better person. It's also about your partnerships, people that really, 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 really know you. And so this is something that I brought up yesterday that I think is, again, worth repeating because you didn't hear it. I was cut off, is that, this is about a reciprocal relationship. So if you have a friend, let's just say friend at this point, it's a platonic friendship, but they're very, very close to you. and you know, meet on a regular basis, or you pick up wherever you're at. I've got friends like this that, because I used to live internationally, and I tell you what, there's a few friends when I pick up the phone, or you know, get on Zoom or whatever platform, we may not have even spoken for months, and then all of a sudden we just pick up right where we're at, and we can have that conversation about everything. Like, you can be safe to know that you can confide in this person and they can confide in you. It's not a one-way street where you're just whining and who wants to hear that? That's not a friendship. That's being abusive to a friend, or a person. They're not a friend. You're just abusing a person. So you really want to find those relationships that you can really trust and nurture and have for a lifetime. But this is also about your intimate partnerships as well. And I also say that it is for your business partnerships. So it could be a legal entity all the way to a very short-term JV partnership or affiliate partnership for a certain campaign. Your hour of birth is going to be about your life purpose, your legacy, and it is also about your goals. So if you do know your hour of birth, and again, I realize some of you may not, because of either adoption, your birth records got lost, never was recorded, there isn't anyone living right now that can tell you that you were born at a certain time. But again, I just gave you pretty much a really comprehensive pillar information about the year, month, and day. So you've got 75% if we hold each of these at 25%. So it's also about your investments, and it is about your children if you have them, and also your creation, so your IP and things like that. This is where your hour of birth is going to be holding. Okay, so that's a pretty brief overview of what we talked about yesterday. And so hopefully that will help you. So again, grab your chart if you haven't done so already. All right, so I asked Alice if this would be a good idea to do, and she said, yeah, why not? So I'm gonna stop sharing my screen for just a moment. And if you were on yesterday, you noticed a very different background. So one of my goals for 2021, because of, you know, as we say, we have different opportunities when we have downturns, right? So one of the things that I've decided to do is I work out of my home anyway, and we live in a house where we have more than one bedroom, let's just put it that way. And this one room is a room that's probably the quietest in the house. And so I thought, you know what, this is my 2021 goal, which I think I'm going to be speeding up on, is I'm going to have a really, you know, nice recording studio. I really want to do that. So what I've decided to do is I'm recording from here today, because this is where I had a stronger internet signal installed just a few weeks ago, but my office really wasn't pretty. So, but I'm going to definitely show you a before and an after. And the after may not happen until after Chinese New Year, because I'm taking care of you guys with the challenge and the annual event. But I'm just going to give you a little virtual tour of what this space looks like right now. So it really is just kind of a, you know, spare bedroom. Check out this full length. This was like this when we moved in, but oh well. I'm going to probably just put some type of wallpaper, that peel and stick wallpaper, just to get rid of that, because it's not good, as you can see, for recording to have that there. And then we've just got, you know, like a futon in here. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to turn this into a recording studio. So there's a quick little before, and as I build it out with Feng Shui, there you go, an opportunity to show you how I do this in action. Okay, all right, let me get back to sharing my screen. Alice, are we good? Anyone have anything to comment on while I'm sharing the screen again?
We got a couple of comments and no questions as of yet, but they're um, nice things, nice comments. So
Aw,
we have, yeah, we have Susan Fox,
hi,
who's
Susan.
calling from Sausalito. And then we also have Mary Nipple. Um, and then Deb Nye is also calling in.
Oh, hi,
And
Deb.
then Angie Harding has joined us as well.
Yeah.
And we have Deb Nye saying, Amen, a year, a day uh, can change everything. I completely agree. Susan Fox says, you're doing this because you are truly an expert in this information. Thank you for translating it for us. Um, and then Angie says, thanks for the overview. It really helped.
Oh, good.
Deb says, looks like a dance room ballet.
Yeah, I
She
think it
says,
was. It
yeah.
must have been at one time. The only thing I could think of before we moved in, it must have been that or a workout studio. I'm not really sure, but a little bit too much mirror for me, but whatever.
And
I'm
she says,
covering
you
up.
could paint it like whiteboard to plan. And then Vicky Delojoy says, hi.
It's been so long since we've connected. Hope everything's well in your world. I tell you, your qigong is amazing. Check out Vicky Della Joyo for some qigong. She's pretty amazing. She does some great stuff online, and she was at an event of ours a few years back where she brought us back after lunch when we were live and we could actually reach out and touch each other. We'll be back one day though. Don't worry. We'll be back one day. All right. Well, thanks so much, you guys, for tuning in. And let's move on to the feng shui of the space. And again, you want to get your chart if you haven't done so already, because this is relevant to what you're going to be doing. We already talked about the chart, so we're going to move on from there. I'm going to start with the feng shui, just a blank feng shui dial. So when you buy the book, you're going to hear a little bit more about this blank dial that is pretty important. But what I want you to understand is that this is what's called a 24 mountain, because there's 24 different little pie shells. Let's just call them that for right now. Each of them are 15 degrees. And what I want you to understand about this particular dial is that on it is also your astrology. So I'm going to let you watch the video on that when you purchase the book, because it's pretty important for you to understand. But I also want you to know that all of the 12 animals, because and it's all in a cycle. It starts with the rat and goes all the way around to the rat again. And so every other pie shell is an animal, and then every other one is an element. And so the element and the thing I want to tell you about this, for those of you, because a lot of people are on the move, if you will, for because of life circumstances, you've either lost your space, and for that I'm truly sorry. I've been there and my heart goes out to you. But if you do need to look for a new space, do not use the annual dial, because the annual dial lasts 1 year. I don't want you to get messed up by looking at a property that you're going to buy, an apartment, a room that you're going to rent, an office that you're going to rent, whatever that may be. Always, always, always try to get on an element for the facing, and that means the street address typically of where your building is going to be facing. Try to always get on an element. Never, never, never get on a animal, because even if that animal is or is not in your chart, every 6 years the front and back of your house is going to clash. So because these animals, let's just take 2020, we had the year of the rat, and anyone who had a horse in their chart or a south facing house or opposite had probably quite a bit of problems, because it clashed your house. The front of your house is about money. The back of your house is about people matters, and people matters means your relationships and your health. So if you are in that situation where you do have that, there's really not much you can do, but just prepare yourself to know that there's going to be clashes. Now, clashes, I'm not actually too afraid of, although I wouldn't want to clash my house every 6 years. But what I want to say is that at least a clash, you can see it coming and you can prepare for it. Whereas some of the other types of combinations with animals. There's harms, punishments, destructions, and clashes, like I said. So when we have these, the only one that you can kind of like, oh, okay, means a big change for me, that's a clash. But you don't really want that big of a clash happening every year. But you will have clashes, you will have punishments, you will have those anyway, just by the years of. And we'll talk more about that as we go throughout the year, and I'll address them at my annual event as well. So this is just the basic. So you may want to take a screen capture of this, by the way. And the reason why, that if you are ever looking for a place, you just want to pull up your digital compass on your phone. That's all you need. If you've got a smartphone, just go ahead and, get this compass. Hopefully that screen's not too glary for you. And if you haven't used it in a while or have never used it, one of the things you need to do is you need to calibrate it. I was just having a email conversation with the person who is offering her space for the annual event, and we'll be talking about that. She was having a problem taking the compass direction. There was too many things that were affecting it. So I want to help you with that as well. So the first thing I want you to do is, if you are renting a room, it's going to be pretty darn easy. You're going to just stand in the middle of the room, and then, just find like a window or a door so you can line it up. So when you put it on the floor plan, oh, that's the certain direction you want. I'm going to stand back a little bit here. I'm not too set up in this room quite yet, but basically, I'll see if I can pull the screen down a little bit. You just, basically you're going to put the compass that's about waist length here, and then just settle down. Don't be moving. Just settle down. Just kind of like take that hero stance, settle down, and grab that direction. When that compass settles down, that's the direction you want to take. If you're in a bigger building, then just square off the building, stand in the middle, and then go ahead and take that direction. So don't worry about, don't get too upset about, like I took one direction. Take one direction and stop. Just take that direction. Do not have on clunky jewelry that is metal. I don't care about like plastic or stones or anything like that. Or something that's a synthetic kind of thing, but metal will change a compass direction. The other thing that will, and I have to tell this I haven't been in too many spaces this past year, but I have to tell this to people when I bring my big Lopan compass, which is a compass that I use to take directions. They want to like kind of watch what I'm doing. And although it's interesting for that, but it will affect the electromagnetic fields of other people are going to affect your compass reading as well. So just say, all right, back off for a second here and let me take the reading, and then I'll show you what I was doing, right? So this is something that's a real important thing to do. But for the annual energies, we're not so concerned about the facing and the setting. We just need an accurate direction so we can put this dial on top. Okay, you are the first people that get to see the annual compass, and so here it is. And if you would like to get this compass before you attend my annual event, all you need to do is go to freecompassdial.com. Alice, just want to check in with you. Is the 2021 ready to be sent out, or is that going to be like Thursday?
Yep, it's ready.
It's ready. Okay, so we're ready to rock and roll on this. So I gotta put on my glasses for this one. But anyway, go to freecompassdial.com, and then this is the compass dial that you are able to download. And this particular, there's 3 different compass dials that I talk about at my annual event, and we'll give you this one before the event, because I think it's very good for your pre-planning. And the reason that I tell you this is, if you are thinking about doing any renovations, you're going to want to do them before February 3rd if you are going to be doing, any kind of, major renovations. Just get it started on a good day is my biggest suggestion on that. So here is sort of the down and dirty of this, of the chart is: one, green is good, red, we want to stay away from. So let's start with, and like I said, I have 3 different compass styles. And again, what we're going to be doing with that is we're going to layer them up and then find out where the best areas are. And then that's where we're going to be doing most of our activities for the coming year. Now, let me just even tell you, I have to make a commitment to this recording studio, right? I'm going to be putting in light, sound, mics, cameras, action. But truthfully, what I need to let you know is I'm going to have to make this room. For example, I will have my desk on wheels. I will be able to set up little vignettes and things like that, that when a year is not going to benefit the room that I'm in, because it will eventually hit this area. So I need to be able to shift. So I will do what's called a mini Tai Chi over the one room. So you can do that. Do it globally over your whole floor plan. And then if you want to micromanage it down to one space, because it is either a space that only you control, and or you're going to be investing into equipment that you're not going to be able to go up next year. I got to take all this down and then move it somewhere else. It's an investment that, like, for example, when I'm working with my big Silicon Valley titans, I don't tell them like, oh, we're going to build out this office for you, CEO, but next year you're going to have to go to another space. Don't be ridiculous. They would like laugh me out of the building. But there are certain things that they're going to have to do to make that space continue to be vibrant and performing for them. So it might be adjustment of moving a few degrees. Remember, these are 15 degrees, but I can take this and then put, again, this whole compass dial onto a smaller space and then adjust it accordingly. So just wanted to throw that in there. All right, let's start with, let's just go kind of in a clockwise direction. So let's talk about the Feng Shui piece of it first. So the red is where we have what's called the year breaker. And the reason it's called the year breaker, it is the opposite animal to the ox. The ox is the year of the ox, so it is considered the Grand Duke. I'll talk about the Grand Duke in just a second. So really what we want to make sure is you don't do any renovations inside or out. Now, you can actually be in both the southwest one and the northeast one. But if you can get into a green area, please do it, because it will be much more vibrant and beneficial to you. But if you don't have any other choice, then you're just going to have to be in this vibration, because you start taking on the energy of that vibration. But do not do any renovations after February 3rd. So if you, and here's also another piece worth noting. If you are in a renovation right now, because for example, I don't know, was it 3 years ago? I can't even remember. 3 years ago, I think we're going on. We did a massive kitchen renovation where we took out walls, took a dining room and living room down to the studs, closed up some things, opened up some things. It was a major, major, major renovation. And we were going into a year where the energy had shifted. Just as long as you start and trigger the energy before the year started, you'll be fine. Because let's face it, construction doesn't ever shut down because, oh, that's a negative area, so we can't touch it. That's not even being sensible. You want to make sure that when you are touching those particular areas, though, that you try to get them done on a good day and time. Okay, so that's the year breaker. Just, you can be in it, just don't do any renovations. Now, going over just, a few degrees, going into Southwest 3, we have what's called Dragon Virtue. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me that they've been having really tough years, and the monkey, especially if you've had a monkey in your chart. By the way, if you do have a monkey in your chart, you connect with the positive energy of the Feng Shui of the year. So good news for monkeys, and I think it's welcome news because they've had a couple of years of not so great years, but this is a good one. So dragon virtue is to help you remove obstacles. So when you know that that's what's happening, if you are facing some obstacles after February 4th, I should have put that on this dial. This does not take effect until February 3rd. I can't emphasize this enough. In February 3rd, all the way through 2022 of February 3rd or 4th, this is where, if you've got obstacles, this is where I want you to go hang out, because it will help dissolve some of those obstacles, help you find solutions, help you find the messages in what the disruption could have been. Okay, now moving down to the Northwest 1, where the dog resides. Again, if you have a dog in your chart, lucky you, because you connect with the Feng Shui as well. This is where we're going to find fortune this year. So this would be a great, if you've got any renovations to do, Southwest 3 and Northwest 1, those are where I'd want you to start a renovation if it goes over a large piece of footprint on your floor plan. But this is where you can be bringing in some fortune. So you could be doing things inside or outside of your house or your office, and the same with the monkey direction. So inside and out. And again, worth noting, your Feng Shui always starts on the outside. We want to harness the energy from the outside and bring it in. So, you know, doing a little gardening in these little areas are definitely a positive thing for you to do. Now we have to go to the Northeast 1, where we have the Grand Duke, and the Grand Duke is the whatever the year is. It's the metal ox, so the ox happens to be the Grand Duke. So this is where we could, if you do renovations here or accidentally trigger it, and sometimes stuff is going to happen. Like I'm kind of like figuring out what we need to do. We've got a leak, and we just had the pipes tested, and this year and next year is not a good area for where the leak is at, but we got to get that fixed. That's something that we can't avoid. But what I can do is make sure I get it repaired on the best day that I can, so it doesn't harm my business, my husband's business, my health, his health, et cetera, right? So that's what can happen when you trigger the negative energy: financial, health, relationship, just nasty obstacles, right? When that gets triggered. And if it does, what do? You go over to the Southwest 3, the monkey direction, and spend some time there. If you are in my program, you'll get some Feng Shui activations for sure to help you dissolve those obstacles. Okay, let's go to the tiger. I'm just going to talk about the inside of the dial, and then I'll talk about this outside in just a second. So let's talk about the tiger. The tiger has, which is Northeast 3, it has the sun. Now the sun is a more masculine energy or yang energy, very action oriented, and it will help bring about business. It will help dissolve some obstacles as well, but not as well as the monkey in the dragon virtue direction. But it will help definitely to bring about people that can help you. So looking for high power type people to help level you up would be definitely something, and even calling in by spending some time there. Okay, now let's go over to the Southeast 1, is the dragon. Now the dragon doesn't really have much. It has the moon. I'll give them that. I'll give the dragons that, but it also has some other conflicting energy there that we'll have to address as well. So first of all, let's talk about the good thing about the dragon. It has the moon. If you're a writer, if you are a creative, if you are someone that is like more reflective, this is a great energy to use to really get into the yin side of things, that more reflective side where most creativity actually does happen, right? So when you end up just stopping from all the chaos that's happening in the world, when you are able to just go, that's when we can spark ideas. This is also very much female centric. And so this is where we can get some female or feminine help here. And we are coming into the power of women for sure. And so this is what the dragon can offer. So again, if you've got a dragon in your chart, you do connect with it, but we do also have a couple of things that I also have to address. So anywhere from Southeast 3, which is where the snake is at, all the way through Southeast 1, where the dragon is at. This swath here has what's called the 5 yellow. I'm giving you actually a little bit of flying star, which is one of the dials that we'll talk about at my annual event. But I always put it on my Feng Shui dial because I don't want people to forget about it. The 5 yellow does not like being on the outside of the dial. They love being the center of the attention. And for many years, they've been on the outside. So just heads up, it's going back to the center in 2022. So we won't have so much to deal with the 5 yellow for at least a year. But the 5 is the emperor or the empress, and they don't like to be out with the peons. They don't like to be the worker bees. They want to just command and be the center of attention. And that's really, what the problem is with the 5. So what I'm going to ask for you to do, and this is heads up, because people, in my opinion, wait too long to gather what they need for adjusting their space. Now, if you've been already working with me, you probably already have what you need. You're just going to be removing the 5 from where it was previous, which was the east, right? But you don't do it yet. Don't do it yet. You're going to take that same metal. Maybe I would take it outside and give it an overnight moon cleanse and then bring it in, and we're going to place it in. And what I would suggest you do is put it exactly in this dragon 15 degrees. I would find somewhere within there to put that very heavy metal. What I mean by heavy metal, now we've got a space that's like 3,360 some square feet or whatever. I don't know what that is in metric, so you have to figure it out. But it's a pretty decent sized space for a home. So I literally have a couple 100 pounds of metal that's in the east, and then I have another couple 100 that's in the south, and that again is from the flying star, which we'll talk about at my annual. But grab your metal now if you don't have it, so you're not scrambling closer to Chinese New Year. We are going to be, and I'll be announcing it, so don't be worried. I don't have the exact dates for you on hand for you right now, but it's going to be right before Chinese New Year, sort of that last week. There's going to be a couple of days where I'm going to have you place this metal into these particular 2 areas so that it mitigates and keeps, because what we're doing is we're draining that sort of warrior energy that is there. So when we pacify it, it has something to do, then it'll be much better, much happier. Okay. Now, we also have what's called the 3 killings, and that goes from the tiger all across the rabbit, all the way across through to the snake. So this whole half a dial, and it happens every year. It just kind of shifts up, just kind of ratchets us up around does its turnaround. But basically, you don't want to be doing renovations in any of these areas either. So if you do have renovations, I would suggest that you do them before February 3rd. But here's the grain of salt. I'm going to throw back a little bit from 2020. We still have to be cautious of the east all the way to the south. It's southwest 1. Is where we needed to be a little bit more cautious with the 3 yellow, and the 3 killings, and then the 5 yellow was in the east. I know that was a lot. That was maybe pretty heady, but if you worked with me last year, you know what those directions were. But really what I want you to think about is mostly this ox and this year breaker. This one is pretty darn dangerous. All right, here's just a little recap, which is in your book. And so the monkey has the dragon virtue. It removes obstacles. The dog has the fortune virtue, which is going to be about prosperity for you this year. Here's the exact degrees if you want them. If you have these two animals in your chart, you connect with the space in your chart, and hopefully you have those spaces depicted in your area, in your floor plan, and you don't have that area missing. If you have an animal missing, let's see if I can go back. How can I go back? Yeah, whoops. If you have, let's just say you have a dog in your chart, but your northwest area is missing, you are missing out on a lot because your astrology does not connect with the space. This is what's called 4-point gold. This is in that bonus video, but it's worth repeating. It's worth repeating. You want to have a square or a rectangle shaped building, because otherwise you risk. And there's other things in that video that I'll be explaining as well. All right, so here's kind of a mixed. We've got the tiger. Yes, it's got the sun to elevate your status and go to influencer, but it does also have the 3 killings, specifically what's robbery. So do watch your personal effects. And if you have a dragon in your chart, this also, you're getting a little bit of Feng Shui, a little bit of astrology right here as well. The dragon has the moon, great for passive income, helpful people. And it also has the 3 killings, which could bring about arguments and disagreements. Now, the most challenging sectors in 2020 is going to be the ox. It has the Grand Duke, which is going to bring misfortune, the goat year breaker, which brings calamities. That's, the opposite of the ox. And then the rabbit. It does have 3 killings. I'm just abbreviating. 3K is 3 killings, by the way. Has calamities, so watch about injuries. So I'm going to give you a little, whoops, I want to go back. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Sorry. So even though this says no renovations, it actually has a pretty good energetic. It has 2 really good energetics. So just as what I'm going to be actually doing is I'm going to be moving out of the Southeast, where I had my office, where we were broadcasting yesterday. Guess it's time for a move. I'm going to be moving in my office into the East, and my studio is going to be in the Northeast. So just so you know, I'm going to be using these because even though these have some negative connotations, it does have really positive ones as well. You're asking me, well, why aren't you moving over here? Well, this is right in the middle of my kitchen, and this is right in the middle of my dining room, and I have a proper office. It's not a part-time business. It's a full-time, full-on business where I need a proper office and some privacy and things like that. And it's also my home. So I can't really expect every time my husband walks in and out of the door, that's crazy. So I do also have to make some judgment calls here. But when you come to my annual event, you'll see which areas are going to be best for you. And then you need to make the decision. So it is a bit of a trying year. So this is kind of what we can do to help make the year a little bit better. Okay. All right. So we already got to that one. So we're coming here to the end. So for those of you, even if you haven't bought the book, we'll still give you this little discount for you. But if you haven't purchased your ticket yet, go to bit.ly/metalox and put in that promo code book, lowercase book. Please, 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 at the checkout, just slow it down just a little bit, because we've had a lot of people say I couldn't put in the coupon code or whatever. Just slow it down, look for it. And it's out of my hands, actually. It's on Eventbrite where we gather the ticket sales. So I can't really go in and change anything. So just slow it down and put in that so you get the discount.
You'll see the enter promo code right on top of your ticket when you're about to check out. There's
before you hit checkout, right?
Yeah, there's a hyperlink that says enter promo code, and you just click that, enter in book, and then it'll show the discount.
Perfect. And remember, it's lowercase b. Oh, okay. And it's a 2-day live stream this year because we have so much information. I'm introducing Universal Gateway this year, which is the more meditative universal intelligence, which we are going to be talking about tomorrow. So again, get your charts ready, and we are going to be broadcasting at 4 o'clock tomorrow as well. But for the live stream for the annual event, we're going to be talking much more deeply about person, space, time, universe. And day one is 11 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Pacific. And then day two is 2 to 5:30 Pacific. Now, I realize some of you are tuning in from all parts of the world. Hopefully, if it's important enough, you will, which I have myself, if something is important enough, I will get up and listen to it. It's over a weekend, and it's over actually a holiday weekend. So you can certainly watch it. Well, holiday in the US, it's not all over the world, let's be fair. But what I want to say is that if for whatever reason you cannot make it, and I totally understand, it will be recorded and you will get a replay link. So don't worry about that. So that's for the annual event, and we are here at the close. So thank you so very much, so very much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for support of purchasing the book, for spending time with Allison and myself today. We are so grateful. We are so grateful for your following in your business. And I really look forward, even though next year, well, I guess next year is here, even though this year is going to be a rough ride, we can smooth that out, some of the road bumps along the way. So we can't eliminate everything, but we certainly can make life a little bit easier. So until tomorrow, thank you very much, and have a wonderful and amazing rest of the day. Bye-bye. Take care. Thank you.